Revealed, the incredible truth behind his life-changing date. When the waitress uncovered his heart, John Thompson wiped the grease from his hands as he caught Lily's infectious laugh, the sound twinkling like the morning sun. Sundays meant pancakes at the little diner, and today was more than just a meal, it was a moment where worries faded with each golden bite. The warmth of the bustling diner wrapped around him, the aroma of fresh coffee mixing with stories shared over sizzling bacon. One smile lit up the room. Sarah, the new waitress with an effortless charm, gliding between tables, spreading joy like confetti. With Lily perched on the stool, her bright eyes sparkled with excitement. John's heart swelled as she recounted tales of her adventures in the schoolyard, her words vibrant and alive. It was a fleeting escape from the daily grind of debt, the struggle to provide, and the weight of being a single father of 10. The diner felt like their sanctuary, a world where the laughter drowned out the noise of bills piling up and heartaches buried deep. As they savored their pancakes, Sarah arrived, a radiant smile on her face. "What can I get for you two today?" she asked, her voice dancing above the clinking dishes. The moment felt electric, a spark that John couldn't quite place. Maybe it was her genuine interest, or the way Lily's eyes lit up when Sarah swooped in with extra syrup. It was a touch of warmth in a life overwhelmed with struggle. Things were bubbling up. Just as John felt hope in their blossoming friendship, the world came crashing down when he opened a letter bearing the weight of bad news: a hefty bill, a repair for his aging truck that felt like a noose tightening around his neck. Panic hit him like cold water. He fought to keep the tension from his face, trying to shield Lily from his burdens. She deserved better. Before he could process his despair, an unexpected knock echoed through his life: the reunion with Tom, his estranged brother. Memories clouded with grief, their history haunted him. Tom's hollow eyes told stories of his battles, his unspoken demons whispering of pain too deep to bear. The first meeting was tense, a fragile attempt at reparation that often ignited old grievances, leaving wounds raw and exposed. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Caught between resentment and the flicker of hope, John battled daily to maintain a facade of strength for Lily. His face-down moments with Tom became flashpoints, igniting passion and unresolved tension that threatened their connection. Each heated argument felt like a betrayal of his intentions, weighing heavier than any financial burden he bore. But just when everything seemed too much to handle, something shifted. The community stepped in with a surprising initiative, holding fundraisers to help families struggling like his own. John felt a sense of belonging like never before. It was at the diner that the turning point struck: a confrontation with the owner who snickered behind a veneer of sophistication, belittling John's situation, dismissing him based on his lack of wealth. Stunned, John hesitated, but Sarah's voice rang out clear as day, standing up for him with unyielding fierceness. Her defense ignited a fire within him, a reminder that life was more than survival. If only he could unlock that same courage in himself. As he faced the diner owner, confronting not only the prejudice of society but the demons of his past, John felt his heart race. His voice trembled with emotion, the air around him thick with unspoken truths. Just as he was ready to reclaim his dignity, an unexpected confession from Tom quaked through the diner like a thunderstorm, leaving everyone breathless. What would he reveal? Would this shattered bond mend, or was it destined to remain broken? As hope hung in the air, the answers danced tantalizingly out of reach, pulling readers toward the next chapter of this unfolding tale. The diner buzzed with anticipation. John's heart thudded in his chest, his breath shallow as he focused on Tom. The confession that hovered in the space between them felt like an impending storm, both terrifying and hopeful. Every eye in the diner was on them, and the clinking of silverware faded into an uneasy silence. Tom shifted uneasily, his palms sweaty and his voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't show up just to reconnect, John," he finally blurted, his words cutting through the tension like a knife. "I'm here to tell you I've been trying to turn my life around, but I need your help. I can't do this alone." Gasps echoed softly around the room. The truth trembled in silence between brothers, a rawness seeping into every corner. John's stomach flipped. "Help? You think I can help you? You've made your choices, Tom. You pushed me away, you chose this life." Frustration mingled with hurt, the memories of their childhood seeping into his thoughts, the dreams they once shared, now scattered like leaves in the wind. But there was something in Tom's gaze. A glimmer of vulnerability that locked onto John's heart. "I'm sorry," Tom's voice cracked under the weight of his confession. "I messed up. I was lost, but I'm ready to try again. I know things haven't been perfect between us. I just want a chance to make it right." Lily, who had been silent through this emotional upheaval, looked up at her father. There was a depth in her young eyes that held understanding far beyond her years. With all her innocence, she tilted her head, watching the two men, the brothers, spar that inner turmoil that seemed to echo around them like ghosts. "Daddy, maybe he needs you," she whispered, her simple words holding a weight that didn't escape John. But could he? A surge of anger, betrayal, and worry enveloped him. Instead of pushing Tom away again, did John dare to step closer, risking it all? Sarah glanced at him. There was a softness in her expression that spoke of encouragement and faith. Her presence was grounding, a reminder that connection was possible and healing could sprout from brokenness. "Tom, trust is hard to rebuild," John said, his voice steadier now but still laced with uncertainty. "You can't expect me to just forgive and forget. You've hurt everyone who loves you. But if you're serious," he inhaled deeply, letting the words resonate, "if you're really trying to change, we can take this one step at a time." A flicker of hope lit Tom's eyes, but just as quickly, the shadows of doubt clouded them again. "What if I slip up again?" he asked, the fight leaving him as if he had already prepared for failure. John leaned in, feeling the silent urgencies of each witness around them. "Then we'll keep trying. That's how it works. None of us are perfect, we all fall short, but love is about standing back up together." The tension eased slightly. Even the owner, who had been watching with smirk, slowly shifted, his expression softening as if he realized the magnitude of the moment unfolding before him. As the diner returned to a hum of whispers and clinking plates, John couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the cusp of something immense. It felt like a new beginning, where pasts could mend and futures could shine brighter. But what did that mean for him, as a father, a brother, and a man trying to keep his head above water? Just then, the door swung open and the cool evening air swept in, bringing with it a new shadow, someone from John's past, someone he never thought he would see again. The arrival had the potential to change everything again. Who was it? And how would it ripple through the fragile moments John was trying to build? The door creaked as a tall figure stepped inside, the bell above it chiming a melodic welcome. The light from the diner flickered over the newcomer, illuminating a face John thought he had buried deep within his memory. For a moment, time held still, and everything around him faded into a blur. The soft clatter of plates, the hum of distant conversation, all faded to a distant murmur. There she was, Emily. Her presence twisted a knot in John's gut, a mixture of nostalgia and regret flooding his mind. The girl he once loved was now a shadow of a long-lost dream, and yet, there she stood, looking just as beautiful as he remembered. The way her dark hair fell in soft waves over her shoulders, the look of surprise lighting up her eyes as they met his. John's breath hitched. He hadn't prepared for this. Not now. Not when his world was still trembling from the quakes of Tom's confession. And yet, as he glanced at Tom's anxious expression, he knew he couldn't let Emily's arrival derail what he had just started. Lily, still holding on to the thread of tension between the brothers, was the first to break the spell. "Daddy? Is that Miss Emily?" Her innocent voice sliced through the atmosphere like a beacon, pulling everyone's attention towards the doorway. Emily pulsed through the space between them, her surprise morphing into a warm smile that seemed to melt the tension within the diner. "John. It's been ages." Her voice was soothing yet had a tremor that spoke volumes about the years that had passed. "Yeah, it really has," John replied, his voice shaky. He caught a fleeting flicker of uncertainty in her eyes, and it hit hard, a reminder of how much they had once shared and lost. As she approached, John couldn't shake the feeling that her return was no coincidence. It was as if fate had poked at the strings of his heart, weaving old and new together into something altogether daunting. He wanted to believe this was a chance for reconciliation. But how could he think about that when Tom's future hung in the balance? Tom shifted awkwardly, taking in the scene as it unfolded. "You know her?" His voice carried a note of accusation, as if the strength John found to help him was being stolen by old flames. "Yeah, we were close once," John managed to say, trying to keep the edges of his voice steady. "Emily, this is my brother, Tom." The two exchanged cautious glances, Emily's smile fading slightly under the weight of Tom's reputation. It was like a wall of ice formed between the trio, thick with history and the burdens each carried. "Maybe we should catch up sometime," Emily offered, her eyes darting between the brothers, sensing the tension but hoping to wield a peace offering. "Right now might not be the best time," Tom interjected, his tone quick. "I'm just working on some stuff." John's heart dropped. What was it about Tom that made everything feel like it was emerging from a dark past? He wanted to assure Tom that things could be different, that they could weather this together. But with Emily standing there, something deep within him urged him to run. "Can we talk?" Emily stepped closer, the warmth of her voice battling against the chill that lingered around them. "I didn't come here by accident," John. The weight of those words weighed heavy on his chest, a premonition dancing at the edges of his mind. He knew she held answers or pieces of the puzzle he wasn't ready to confront. "Yeah, okay," he finally said, the decision having a ripple effect on the stable ground he'd barely begun to find. As they stepped toward the exit, he cast one last glance back at the diner, his heart pounding with uncertainty. Would confronting old feelings come with clarity or confusion? And what of Tom? Would giving him that chance still hold firm once the past began to spill into the present? Inside the diner, the warmth felt distant now. Outside, the night awaited, full of unspoken truths and possibilities. What awaited him and Emily in the dark? The chill of the night air hit John as he stepped outside, Emily beside him, her presence both comforting and unsettling. The streetlights cast long shadows around them, and for a moment, the world felt like it had shrunk to just the two of them. "Are you okay?" she asked, her tone gentle, the concern in her voice resonating with the tenderness of their past. "Yeah," he said, though the lie tasted bitter on his tongue. How could he be okay when everything felt stacked against him? "It's just a lot going on." She studied him, those familiar dark eyes searching for the truth behind his words. "I can see that. You look different. Is it the weight of the world on your shoulders, or is it just me being here?" Her question caught him off guard. It felt like she had reached through the years, peeled back layers of time and memory, and revealed the boy who used to follow her every move. He swallowed hard, trying to find the right words. "Maybe a bit of both. You were a big part of my life, Emily." "It's hard for me to believe it was that simple," she replied softly. "Things don't feel simple anymore, do they?" He sighed, rubbing the back of his neck, feeling that familiar ache. "Not really. Tom, he's going through something serious. I need to focus on him." "Is that why you've been distant?" she asked, her voice laced with sorrow. "I knew you were going through something, but I didn't know it would pull you away like this." John felt a pang of regret. There had always been a connection between them that he had never quite severed. "I didn't want to lose you, of all people." And with everything happening with Tom, I feel like I'm juggling I don't know. Emily reached out, placing her hand gently on his arm. The warmth of her touch sent a jolt through him, a memory of comfort and love washed over him. Sometimes we lose ourselves in trying to hold each other up. But it's okay to admit when you can't bear it alone. He looked down at her hand, then into her eyes where vulnerability shimmered. I'm scared. I don't want to mess things up again. Life doesn't hand us rules, she reassured him, pulling him closer. What matters is that we find a way to navigate it together. You don't have to do this alone. But John felt the weight of their history. He could remember moments that had slipped through his fingers like grains of sand, memories of laughter and shared secrets now tainted by distance and regret. I don't know if I can go back to what we were. What if we don't need to go back? She suggested, her voice barely above a whisper. What if we could find something new, together, even in all this chaos? Her words hung in the air like an unspoken agreement, tempting yet terrifying. Could he truly allow himself to do that? To let those old feelings resurface and intermingle with the tumult of his current life? Just then, the honk of a passing car echoed through the stillness, jolting him back into reality. I have to see how Tom's doing, he said abruptly, stepping back. He was upset. Emily's voice trailed off, her disappointment palpable. The knot in his chest tightened. Memories tugged at him, urging him to stay. I'll call you, okay? I promise we'll talk more. Just remember, she replied, taking a step back, a hint of sadness lacing her words, it's never too late. As he turned to head back, a whirlwind of emotions swirled inside him: dread, confusion, and something else, something that felt a lot like hope. What would he find when he returned to Tom? The answers he sought about the choices that haunted him? Or perhaps a revelation that could change everything? John hesitated at the door of the diner, heart racing. What awaited inside? Would he be able to face his brother again? Or would the truths that had been left unspoken shatter everything they fought so hard to protect? John took a deep breath and pushed the door open. The familiar ding of the bell was like a call back to his childhood, an echo of laughter and shared stories. The lights inside the diner were warm, casting a cozy glow over the vinyl booths and stained tables. But tonight, the comfort felt frayed, as if the diner, like him, was holding together by sheer will. Tom was seated in their usual spot at the back, hunched over a cup of coffee. His fingers drummed anxiously on the table, a nervous rhythm that set off alarms in John's heart. As he approached, he could see the shadows under Tom's eyes and the way his brow was knitted tight. This wasn't just about anger or hurt, it was something deeper. Hey, John said softly, sliding into the booth across from him. How are you holding up? Tom looked up, surprise flashing across his face before it fell back into an unreadable mask. I didn't think you'd come back so soon, he said, his voice a mix of relief and weariness. Emily, she just wanted to talk, John answered, feeling the weight of those words. The very mention of her made something twist in his gut. But it wasn't about her right now, it was about Tom. I didn't know how to tell her what was going on, not while you're going through this. Tom nodded, his gaze drifting out of the window. The streetlights glared like small stars against the darkened sky. You mean while I'm falling apart? He laughed, but it was hollow, distant. You've got your own life to deal with, John. Don't worry about me. Don't say that, John urged, leaning closer, his voice lowering. You're my brother. I care. I want to help. For a moment, Tom's eyes softened, but the anger quickly returned, igniting an internal tension. Help? You can't help me. You don't even know what I'm facing. His fists clenched on the table, turning white against the dark wood. You left. You chose to focus on your life, your dreams. I was the one left behind. John flinched at the accusation, pain piercing through him. It wasn't that simple. He shot back, his own frustration bubbling to the surface. I had to find my way. I thought that you'd be okay on your own. Okay? Tom's laughter returned, but now it was laced with bitterness. I'm not okay, John. I haven't been for a long time. Silence fell between them, thick and heavy like a wet blanket. John could see his brother was struggling, lost in a storm of emotions he didn't know how to navigate. The truths that loomed over them were dark and uncomfortable, but they swirled around, begging to be acknowledged. Tom, he started softly, let me help you. We can face this together. Whatever it is, you don't have to go through it alone. Tom's eyes flickered, caught off guard by John's determination. But just as quickly, the shield came back down. You really want to know? You really want me to spill my guts here? You might not like what you hear. John's heart raced. I can handle it. Just tell me. Please. Tom hesitated, the weight of his secrets hanging palpably in the air. He opened his mouth, but the words were stuck, tangled among fears, doubts, and unresolved traumas. Instead, he just shook his head slowly, the desperation evident. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he said, what if this changes everything? What if you regret it? For a moment, time seemed to freeze. The world outside faded away. Everything hinged on what Tom was about to reveal. Would this be the moment that brought them closer, or would it tear them apart forever? Tell me, John urged, nerves churning in his stomach. Whatever it is, I'm ready. Would Tom finally share the truth weighed down by silence, or would it remain buried, wrenching them apart even further? The stakes felt unbearably high. Tom stared at John, lost in a tempest of thoughts and emotions. The corners of his mouth twitched, and for a heartbeat, hope flickered in his expression. But hope was quickly subdued by a wave of despair. He clenched his fists tighter, squeezing his eyes shut as if he could will the truth to dissolve into the shadows around them. John, he said, voice cracking, I'm scared. If I tell you what I've been hiding, it's like opening Pandora's box, and I don't know if we'll ever be the same again. The clatter of dishes in the kitchen felt deafening in the silence that followed. John wished he could reach across the table, cup his brother's face in his hands, and tell him everything would be okay. But instead, he felt the distance grow, stretching the emotional chasm between them. All the years I spent trying to keep everything together, Tom continued, his voice barely above a whisper. You left, and I thought I could handle it. I wanted to make you proud. I wanted to be the brother you could always rely on. But I'm not that guy anymore. As Tom spoke, John could see the cracks in his brother's facade widening. Each word felt like a plea, an invitation to leap into an abyss of vulnerability that had long been kept at bay. You're still that guy, Tom, John insisted. You're the strong one. You're my brother. Whatever you're dealing with, we can face it. Together. Tom's eyes met John's, filled with a swirl of conflicting emotions. You don't understand, he rasped. I'm deep in things I can't just walk away from. Then let me in, John pressed, urgency coursing through his veins. Whatever it is, we can fix it. Just tell me what is going on. Taking a shuddering breath, Tom started to speak, his voice trembling with the weight of his confession. It's not just one thing, John. It's the addiction, it's the debts piling up, it's everything I kept from you because I was ashamed to admit I needed help. The world around them fell silent. John's heart sank as Tom laid bare what he had hidden for so long. I didn't want you to see me like this. I didn't want to drag you down with me. Tom, I'm here. John nearly shouted, the desperation spilling over. You can't just push me away. I can help you. We can figure out a plan together. A tear slipped down Tom's cheek, cutting through the facade like a river through rock. I'm so tired of fighting, John. And losing. What if there's no way back? John reached across the table, grabbing Tom's trembling hands in his own. Then we fight together. You don't have to do this alone. Not anymore. Please. There was a long pause as Tom registered the sincerity, the loyalty in John's voice. But doubt still lingered in his eyes. What if I drag you down into this mess? What if this turns out to be more than you bargained for? John's grip tightened, anchoring them both. We'll face the storm. Just let me in. Tom swallowed hard, anguish playing in his expression. Maybe it was time to lay his burdens down, to stop carrying the weight alone. But could he? Would he risk everything to admit defeat? As a moment of truth beckoned, a shadow passed behind John's shoulder. The diner door squeaked open and the aroma of rain-soaked asphalt wafted inside, perfectly juxtaposing the emotional downpour brewing at their table. Tom, John pressed, heart racing. Please. Yet as he looked into his brother's eyes, he knew the answer to his plea could change everything. Would Tom take that leap of faith? Would he finally lift the veil and expose the roots of his pain? The world outside continued on, indifferent. But at that booth in the diner, the stakes climbed higher. A decision was about to unfold that could reshape their futures forever. Tom felt the weight of John's gaze piercing through him. The storm of emotions roiling within made the air thick, almost electric. He was teetering on a tightrope, heart racing. The choice weighed like an anchor around his neck. John, he started, his voice choked. What if I told you everything and you walked away? That fear loomed large, an unwelcome specter that chased him. But John's eyes held something different, something that whispered safety. I will never walk away from you, Tom, John answered firmly. No matter what it is. I promise. The air shifted slightly, the clouds above them darkening, or maybe it was just the reality settling into place. Taking a deep, tremulous breath, Tom felt as if he were standing at the edge of a cliff. The abyss beckoned, and every instinct screamed for him to retreat. I stole money from Mom and Dad, he finally blurted out, the words tumbling out before he could second-guess himself. I thought I could pay it back before they found out, but it spiraled. I got caught up and that led to everything else. John's mouth fell slightly open, absorbing the shocking confession. Tom, his voice was low, stunned, yet laced with compassion. I didn't want to disappoint them. I didn't want to disappoint you, Tom pressed on, vulnerability flooding him. Then when I couldn't stop, when the addiction took hold, it became too much. I've lied, I've hidden everything, and I thought I could control it. You can't control everything, Tom. John's voice was calm, though his eyes danced with worry. But you can manage it with help. We can figure this out together. Each word felt like a lifeline tossed into the stormy sea of Tom's despair. But doubt clung to him like fog, thick and suffocating. What if it's too late? What if I'm too far gone? He murmured, his strength fading. A waitress walked by, her tray laden with steaming coffee cups. She caught a glimpse of their intense exchange and hesitated, her brow knitted with concern. John's eyes lingered on her for a moment, then returned to Tom. We're here, right now, John said, tearing his focus away from the waitress and firmly meeting Tom's gaze. You're still here, and that means there's a chance. A chance to rebuild, to heal. It starts with you being honest, the real you, not the facade you've built. Tom's heart raced as he wrestled with truth. Vulnerability felt exposed, daunting, but exhilarating at once. Yet still, a nagging doubt lingered. What if this laid bare things best kept hidden? What if honesty shattered the bond they had built? Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the kitchen, a dropped pot or someone banging a pan. The sounds jolted Tom, breaking the moment's spell. The diner around them buzzed with life, laughter and chit-chat, unaware of the turmoil unfolding in that small booth. Tom, John urged again, squeezing his hand tighter. What do you want to do? Are you ready to start telling the truth now? The urgency in John's voice tugged at Tom, pulling him closer to acknowledgement. Could he do this? Could he face whatever lay ahead? Yes, but he began, his thoughts racing. There's more. Something heavier than just addiction and mistakes. John's brow furrowed deeper. What do you mean? Taking a deep breath, Tom prepared to unravel the final threads of his secret, the truth that had haunted him longer than he could remember. But could he really lay his soul bare in such a raw, public setting? As he opened his mouth to speak, the loud din of the diner faded into a dull murmur, the world shrinking to just the two of them. Tom could feel the eyes of everyone in the room upon him, a collective breath held, waiting for the weighty truth to spill forth. Was he ready to finish what he started, to unleash the storm of consequences waiting on the other side? What if the deepest secrets he had kept didn't just change John's perception of him but shifted their entire world? As the air thickened between them, Tom's mind raced, poised on the brink of revelation. John, the first need you to know. Tom felt the tremor in his hands as he searched for the right words. The weight of his truth pressed down like a heavy fog, shrouding him in uncertainty. The chatter of the diner slipped further away, leaving just the rhythmic sound of John's breathing. Each inhale seemed to sync with Tom's racing heart, steadying him just enough to find his voice. John, he whispered, gathering courage. It's not just about the money or the addiction. He hesitated, the knot in his throat tightening. I hurt someone I cared about. Someone who trusted me, and I broke that trust. John's eyes widened, a flicker of concern reigniting in their depths. What happened? His voice was steady, a grounding presence amid the chaos within Tom. Tom exhaled shakily and felt raw, naked even. It was during a low point. I was desperate for money, and I hurt my best friend, Jake. I took money from him too, convinced I'd pay him back, but I didn't. I just kept spiraling downward. John's expression shifted, morphing from concern to a deep understanding. Have you told him? No, Tom admitted, shame flooding over him. I couldn't face him after what I did. He was just trying to help me, and I repaid that faith with betrayal. The silence stretched between them, thick with disappointment and pain. The noise of the diner blurred at the edges as if the world had narrowed to the torment of Tom's confession. I'm scared, John, Tom said, his voice trembling. What if he never forgives me? What if this is it? I'm just a lost cause. No, you're not a lost cause, Tom, John replied, his voice firm yet soft. You have the power to change this. The only way to heal is to face it head-on. You owe it to Jake to be honest with him. Tom met John's gaze, searching for a flicker of hope amid his despair. But what if he hates me? What if I ruin everything? We're all human, Tom. We make mistakes. What matters is how we choose to move forward. It won't be easy, but you have to take that step, John insisted. The words sank in, settling like a stone in Tom's chest. A mix of fear and determination ignited, filling the spaces left by regret. You make it sound so simple, John smiled, albeit faintly. It's not simple, but it's worth it. And you don't have to do it alone. I'm right here with you, every step of the way. Tom studied John and felt the emotional isolation begin to crack. As if John's acceptance lingered like sunlight breaking through storm clouds, he found a sliver of courage. Could he really confront his demons? Could he face Jake and seek forgiveness? Just then, the waitress returned, setting down their coffees with a practiced smile. The moment felt oddly sharp, the mundane aspect of life rushing back into the oblivion they just shared. She glanced at Tom with a hint of curiosity, as if sensing the weight of his confession lingering in the air. Everything all right, fellas? She asked lightly, but her eyes were keen, taking in the tension. Tom opened his mouth, caught off guard by the normality of her question. He felt a rush of gratitude toward John, who had nudged him closer to honesty. We're working on it, he said, keeping it vague. Good luck with that, she said, her voice warm, before moving away. Tom chuckled softly, feeling a strange lightness mix with the heaviness in his heart. The journey ahead would be anything but simple. But with John by his side, maybe, just maybe, he could confront the ghosts of his past. "Thanks, John," Tom said quietly. "Always, Tom." "We'll take it one step at a time," John replied, squeezing Tom's hand again, their bond stronger than before. But just as a sense of hope began to blossom, an all-too-familiar face appeared in the window of the diner. Jake was outside, his expression unreadable as he scanned the room, unaware of the turmoil inside. Tom's breath caught in his throat, his heart skipping a beat. "Is that John?" began, following Tom's gaze. "Is that Jake?" Frozen by fear, Tom felt the ground shift beneath him. Was he ready to face the consequence of his actions? "John. I think he's come to talk." Tom's voice shook in disbelief, the stakes now higher than ever. Tom's heart thudded in his chest, a drumbeat of anxiety and regret. He stared at Jake, who lingered outside the diner for what felt like an eternity. His face was a mask of confusion, searching for answers in the haze of the diner's glowing lights. Each passing second felt like a weight pulling him deeper into despair. "Tom, breathe," John urged, releasing his hand. "Don't let fear take over." But fear was already gnawing at Tom's insides. What if Jake never wanted to speak to him again? Memories of laughter, late-night talks, and shared dreams flashed before him. Each one cut deeper, a reminder of the bond he had shattered. Should I go outside?" Tom asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Only if you feel you can," John said, his gaze fixed on Tom with intense sincerity. "You have to do this when you're ready." Tom weighed his options, chewing his lip as he grappled with his thoughts. Outside, Jake shifted from foot to foot, impatience creeping into his demeanor. It was now or never he could run or own up to what he had done. He glanced at John, who nodded with a soft smile of encouragement. With shaky legs, Tom stood. I need to face him." John placed a hand on Tom's shoulder, his expression steadying. "I'll be right here, okay? You're not alone." Tom took a deep breath, pushing through the din of chatter and the clatter of dishes as he made his way to the door. The cool air hit him like a splash of ice water, jolting him back to reality. Jake turned at the sound of the door opening, his expression shifting from confusion to surprise. "Tom?" The way Jake said his name stirred a mix of old memories and raw emotions in Tom. Familiarity tinged with hurt. "Hey, Jake," Tom said, his voice shaking almost as much as his hands. As he stepped closer, he saw the shadows of worry etched on Jake's brow. I didn't expect you to come." There was a long pause. The world around them faded, the distant sounds of laughter and clinking glasses disappearing. "So, you're still hiding then?" Jake said, his voice sharp but layered with pain. Tom's heart sank further. "I'm not hiding. I've just been lost. I've been meaning to talk to you, but I didn't know how." "Meaning to?" Jake laughed without humor, shaking his head. "You took my money, Tom. You disappeared from my life. Did you think I wouldn't notice? That it wouldn't hurt? I know, and I'm so sorry. I messed up, and I took advantage of your kindness," Tom said, nearly choking on his words. "I was in a dark place and I made terrible choices." Jake crossed his arms, the tension radiating off him in waves. "And this is the part where you expect me to forgive you? Just like that?" "No, I'm not asking for instant forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it," Tom pleaded, feeling the weight of every word. "But I want to make it right. I want to explain if you'll let me." "What's left to explain?" Jake shot back, holding on to his anger like a lifeline. "You lost me when you took what wasn't yours. I was wrong, and I can't take that back. But I want to try to earn your trust again," Tom said, his eyes searching Jake's for any sign of hope. For a moment, there was only silence, the world between them thick with tension. Jake's expression softened slightly, a flicker of vulnerability breaking through his facade. You think it's that easy? You think I'm just going to forget? Tom's heart raced as he clung to the lingering thread of possibility. No, but I'm willing to work for it. I'll prove to you that I can change. Jake studied him, the conflict waging hard behind his eyes. You really believe you can change, don't you? That it's easy to fix what's been broken. Tom took a step forward, courage building inside him. No, it won't be easy. But I won't give up. Not on us. As he stood there, bare before his friend, everything felt unsteady. The emotions stirred fear, regret, hope swirled like a storm within him. That's a hell of a promise, Jake finally said, his voice a whisper now. But can you keep it? And just like that, as each moment stretched on the precipice of change, Tom knew this was just the beginning. Would he rise to the challenge? Or was this another moment lost to fear? Let us find out, Tom replied, his voice firm with newfound resolve. But before Jake could respond, a sharp sound from the diner's entrance pulled them both momentarily from their intense standoff. A figure burst through the door, disrupting the moment. What the hell is going on here? A stranger's voice rang out, drawing attention. Startled, they turned. Who was this? And why now? The abrupt interruption sent a jolt through both Tom and Jake. The voice belonged to a tall figure, a man with a hardened expression, glaring at Tom like he was a ghost from the past. It was a face Tom had hoped never to see again. Ray, Tom breathed, the name barely escaping his lips. It felt heavy and dangerous, surfacing years of regret and fear. What are you doing here? I should be asking you the same thing, Ray shot back, stepping closer and invading Tom's space. Tension electrified the air between them. I thought you were done with all this. Jake stood watching, confusion marring his features. This was the final nail in the coffin Tom had tried so hard to rebuild. The arrival of Ray, who was deeply tied to Tom's past mistakes, threw everything into question again. What do you want? Tom demanded, anxiety flickering beneath his bravado. Ray smirked as he crossed his arms. I want you to remember where you came from. You think you can just walk away from your past? That it doesn't follow you? Tom, Jake interrupted, eyes darting between them. Who is this guy? Just someone I used to know, Tom replied cautiously, his posture stiff as he faced Ray. He couldn't afford to show any weakness. Someone you owe money to, Ray jabbed, laughter laced with malice. Someone who has been trying to help you remember who you really are. Just a reminder of the mess you've made. The whispers from the diner suddenly felt like shouts, eyes locking onto the unfolding drama. Tom clenched his fists, anger and embarrassment battling within him. I'm not that person anymore. I'm trying to change. I'm not going back. Ray's voice lowered, dripping with sarcasm. Change? You think a couple of good intentions will save you? You'll always be a loser, Tom. Remember that. Before Tom could respond, Jake stepped forward. You don't know him. You have no idea what he has been through. You're just here to drag him down. Ray turned to Jake, sneering. And who are you? Just another fool thinking he can save someone? This loser has dragged everyone down with him. With a surge of determination, Tom shouted, No. I'm done. I won't let you control my life anymore. The intensity of his words shocked even him, he had finally found his voice. The shock on Ray's face transformed into a snarl. You think you can just brush me off? You owe me, Tom. Money doesn't just vanish. I'm working to fix my life, Tom said firmly. And I won't let you pull me back into that darkness. I'm ready to face my mistakes first with my brother, and now with Jake. You don't scare me anymore. Ray's face shifted from anger to disbelief. The shift seemed to ignite something more powerful in Tom. It was empowerment shrouded in clarity. The warmth of John's support flowed like a current, lifting him. Jake stepped closer to Tom, his eyes fierce. "We'll help you, Tom. Whatever it takes." Tom felt the strength of his words anchoring him. Every step toward the light burned brighter than the past. "I'm done living in fear. I can't change what happened, but I can change what comes next." Ray's expression faltered. The defiance in Tom's voice seemed to catch him off guard. "You'll regret this, you know," Ray muttered before taking a step back. "You can't escape me." With those last threatening words, Ray turned and stalked back into the shadows of the night. They stood watching him go, the oppressive weight of his presence lifting like a storm cloud dispersing. Tom collapsed against the nearby brick wall, trying to catch his breath. "I did it," I stood up to him, he gasped, exhilaration and relief mixing in an intoxicating cocktail within him. "You just took a huge step, Tom," Jake said, stepping beside him, a hint of admiration in his voice. "It's not over, but that took guts." Tom turned and faced Jake, the air between them somehow lighter now. "You'll let me earn back your trust, right?" A small smile broke on Jake's face, something not felt in ages. "Yeah. But you've got a lot to make up for, so expect me to be an annoyance. For a while." "Deal," Tom laughed, the sound pure with relief and fresh beginnings. Glancing back towards the diner, he caught John's eye through the window as he leaned against the counter. There was a smile on his brother's face, full of pride. In that moment, under the warm light of forgiveness, hope bloomed anew. Together, the past was no longer a shadow looming over their steps. "Can I tell you something?" Tom asked Jake, the uncertainty creeping back. "I was scared to face you. But I can't change unless I do." "Believe me," Jake began, "everyone is scared. But what really matters is that you're trying." With a newfound strength, Tom nodded, ready to embrace the road ahead, a winding one with bumps and hurdles, but also a path leading to healing and redemption. Fate had brought them back together, and maybe now, together they could weave a tapestry of hope from the threads of their past. As they started walking back inside the diner, each step felt like the dawn breaking on a new day. The world felt full of promise, and for the first time in a long time, it didn't feel dark anymore. And waiting inside the diner were not just pancakes and coffee, but the sweetness of possibility, the taste of second chances, and the warmth of healing hearts coming together. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.